You know what the word Hasbara means? Anybody know? They say Hasbara with a Z, as though it's spelled with Zayin, but it's spelled with a Samech. So it's Hasbara. What is Hasbara? That's basically PR for Israel. We have seen every day now, we're seeing more and more pieces of history come back to life because we did not learn the lessons of history. Now we're doomed to repeat it. So we're repeating things that we only saw in Holocaust times. So, what are some examples? Well, massacres of Jewish people, uh, virulent anti-Semites all over the world, and the last 2 days we saw a brilliant blood libel. Those are also very good. A good excuse to kill Jews, the blood libels. And Hasbara is basically the attempt to fight such thing, trying to tell people we should not care one way or another what everybody around the world thinks. Either they're vicious anti-Semites, they believe in eliminationist anti-Semitism, a term I think coined by Professor Goldhagen. Read Hitler's Willing Executioners to understand what happened in Germany and elsewhere in Europe, and you'll understand what's happening in the world now. Why are so many people, despite the fact that people should know about the Holocaust, why are they advocating for another one? I remember when my grandfather passed away, blessed memory, 17 years ago. So he was a Holocaust survivor. Said about him that it's very interesting that those who deny the Holocaust, the most enthusiastic deniers of the Holocaust, are also the most enthusiastic advocates for another one. That's totally true. So we're seeing it happen in front of us. Hasbara is doomed to failure. We're not going to be convincing anybody of anything. If you, let's say, have a decent American who is totally moved by what happened 2 weeks ago on Shmini Atzeres and realizes, oh my God, the Jewish people are under threat, that wears off in a few hours or so. And many more people are swayed by the blood libel that was happily picked up by basically every single news outlet around the world. Exactly, pshuto k'mashmo, exactly as the bad guys who created the libel were advertising. And that's what gets people more upset. So now I understand why the Holocaust wasn't stopped by anybody, why it's not going to be stopped, why no one is really your friend. You just have to trust in God. Let's bring God into this. You have to trust in God. And he's the only one who is there. And by the way, when the only way that we could get the only good relationship we could possibly have with the nations of the world is that they fear us. So what does it mean that they fear us? We have to keep the Torah exactly as it is. Keep all the commandments. It's not good enough just to keep kashrus and Shabbos. We even have to keep the commandments that say that we have to fight our wars and win. We have to fight to win and protect the Jewish people. And if we do not do that, then they will not fear us. It's not sufficient. They can't just see good Jewish communities. By the way, Jewish communities, even places where they do not keep the commandments that are incumbent upon the klal, for example, running a proper state and keep maintaining a proper army for the maintenance of that state and national security, which is most Jewish places, unfortunately, that's not good enough. So we want them to fear us. Yaru'umi Mecca. The only way you can get the Gentiles to fear us is by winning wars. And even if we were the frommest Jews around, and we did not prosecute this war the way, unfortunately, other nations would prosecute this war by trying to win and strike at their enemies, then they will hate us and they will become our enemies. That sounds kind of counterintuitive to many people, especially people who think more emotionally, people who think more on the left side of the political spectrum. They're trying to get brownie points with the nations. It does not work. Hasbara is a failed endeavor. It cannot work and it will not work. Someone asked, what about the Gross tefillin? The Gross said, you wear tefillin, and that's when they fear you. It's based on a medrash. Yarumi Mecca, Ra'u Kol Me'aretz Ki Shem Hashem Nikra Alecha. That's referring to tefillin. Yes, that works for select individuals. That works for the Vilna Gaon. The Vilna Gaon wore tefillin, and everybody feared him. It does not work, unfortunately, for you or me. Instead, we have to do what the Torah says in order for them to fear us, and that's the best we could hope for. That's basically what happened in King David's time. King Solomon was able to become a star. He was able to become a light unto the nations because in the previous generation, King David was a model of piety, keeping the Torah, and taught Am Yisrael how to become also as pious as he was, or at least aspire to be as pious as he was. And he won wars because he trusted in God. He fought the wars with complete devotion, and he taught others to do so. And that is how they were able to become so powerful. That's what we're hoping for now. A proper Jewish leadership that can teach us how to piously serve God and how to translate that proper service of God, that how to keep the Torah properly in the prosecution of our wars. And there's a major disconnect. It's no surprise that those who are most distant from their Judaism, for whom Judaism is limited to their names, well, it's a still zechus. The fact that they speak Hebrew and they live in the land of Israel, they're basically Jewish in culture, but they're not Jewish in mindset. So they are going to, chas v'sholom, lead us to failure in our wars, or at least they are not equipped to walk with God and win a war. So let's pray. Let's pray that that there be a major change in how Am Yisrael goes about picking its leaders and fighting its wars.